Hello my beautiful friends and welcome back to my channel. On today's video we're going to talk about healing your relationship with food. So if you guys don't know, I've mentioned this a lot in my previous videos. I've dealt a lot with eating disorders, with body dysmorphia, and I've always had a very weird relationship to food in general. And so from the beginning of last year, I really started working on this relationship and on how to heal this relationship with food and with my body as well. And so I really wanted to make a video dedicated on one mindset shift that really began to change my relationship to food in general. And that is, there is no good or bad food. There's no morality around food. So that concept of dropping the idea of there's no good or bad food, there's no morality around food, that really helped me. But you might be asking yourself, okay, that's great, but how do I do it? Because that was actually my question when I found that out, when that I should not be like judging food on good or bad, because we are brought up with diet culture, we see it all around us. And so you might be asking yourself the same thing that I was like, how, okay, that's great, but how do I do that, right? And so I wanted to give you 3 top things that you should do or that you could do if you wanted to really integrate that concept of not judging food and putting food in a box of what is good or bad. So the first thing that I did, and which really helped me, was educate myself on nutrition and on food. The first book that I read about nutrition and about food that really helped me was In Defense of Food by Michael Pollan. I'm gonna insert a picture of it over here, and I'm also gonna put the link for it on the description of this episode. And this book is really interesting because it really goes, in the first chapters, it goes through all of the era of nutritionism in general. And so it goes through all of the times in our lives and in our past societies that carbs were bad, and then fat was bad, and then protein was bad, and then I don't know, animal products was bad, and then dairy was bad, but then carbs were good, and then fat was good, and then and then protein was the thing of the moment. And so it really comes to show how marketing is so involved in putting and labeling foods as good or bad just because they need to profit off something, And I think that's really interesting. That book made me open my eyes for so many things, for so many marketing strategies, and you really can see the industry for what it truly is. An industry, the food industry is a food industry, and industries need to sell. I've graduated in marketing, so I know how marketing in general work, but that really opened my eyes to, is this food really bad, quote unquote bad, or is it just a marketing tactic to sell me more of the other stuff, So that was really interesting, and I really urge you or inspire you to go read that book and to see it for your own eyes and to judge it for yourself. And then the second book that really helped me, and it's been helping me ever since I started reading it, it's the Intuitive Eating book. I'm also gonna insert a picture here and put the link for it on the description of this episode. And the Intuitive Eating book is a very interesting book, and it's been helping me a lot, and I want to put out more content about this as well, because this is something that really changed my life. But mainly it helps you understand as well how to connect with your body and how to tap into your inner cues and basically your inner cues of your body. And so it really makes you trust your body in some sense. And it's really interesting as well because it also goes back and brings a lot of this idea of food not being something bad or good. It just has its moments and its times. And so my number one first tip would be go educate yourself and go see and judge for yourself if the food that you're thinking about is really bad, quote unquote, or is it just a marketing thing, or is it bad in like one specific area. For example, if you have some kind of disease like autoimmune disease or some kind of disease in general, and that is like labeled as bad because of that, and that why is it labeled bad in this case. So really do your research and understand if the concepts that you have surrounding any type of food, is it because it's really like that, or is it because you've just read it in a lot of places and now you just have that inside of you as if it was like the national or the world truth, you know? I don't know. So yeah, go educate yourself, because that really helped me. And then the second thing that I would tell you to do is, after you go and educate yourself and after you understand how many specific details and how many intrinsic stuff, like how many mini details go into nutrition and goes into people labeling foods in general, is for you to reject diet culture in general. Like just reject it. And I know that can feel really isolating and really like you can feel really alone, because everyone else will be talking about diet culture and diet stuff in general. But make sure to stick on your lane and reject it altogether. So make sure you have, like, when you finally do and you have all of this information and your education, you then know that you're rejecting for a specific point and you're rejecting for a specific objective. And so you have that in mind, you keep that in mind, and you can then reject the diet culture in general. So reject people telling you you should eat this and not that. Reject people telling you how much you should eat or how less you should eat. Reject people just blabbering loads of stuff about diet in general, and make sure to stick to your own lane. And that actually venture on to my third and final tip on how to stop labeling food as good or bad, and that is trusting your body. And so once you've educated yourself, you can then move on and just reject diet culture in general. And then when you actually start rejecting it, you can then tap into your body. You can then tap into your body's cues and tap into trusting your body and trusting your inner guidance, you know, and really trusting that intuitive being that you are, not just in food but in general, but now we're talking about food specifically. And then when you finally go and trust your body will start telling you if it needs more carbs, if it needs more fats, if it needs sugar, if it needs something acid, or, you know, your body is really smart and really intuitive, and it's just a freaking machine. And we just unlearn how to tap into that knowledge that our body already have. And so that would be like my final top tip for you, to just go on and trust it, you know. And I think that it's really interesting, because the reason that I started off with the education part is because once you actually educate yourself, you can then go on and just crush everything and reject diet culture in general. And then you can trust your intuition, because our minds and our egos will constantly be like, are you sure you need to eat that much carbs? Are you sure this is healthy? Are you sure you haven't had that much sugar to it, or something like that? And then you'll be able to argue with your ego on an ego level, on a mind level, because you have that education from the first step. But then, and so your ego will kind of like calm down a bit, and then you can just open space for your intuition and for your intuitive being, and to just tap into your body and trust your body. Just trust it in general, and it will balance yourself out. So that's it for today's videos, guys. I hope you loved it. I hope it helps you, and I know that it can be a huge shift, and it's a huge mindset shift in general, because you are going to go like against a lot of people, but know that you're not alone. I'm here, and there are 1,000 other people in this world that are also in this path of healing their relationship to food, with their bodies, and also reconnecting themselves with this intuitive eater and with this inner knowledge that we have in regards to food and also in regards to body acceptance and body confidence. So I hope you liked this video. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm always uploading videos about wellness, lifestyle, self-development, yoga, meditation, all of this stuff. And yeah, I hope you have a very, very, very beautiful and inspiring day, and I'll see you next week. So yeah, bye.